Hey everybody, it's Cora, and I just want to let you all know before this video starts that it's brought to you by the RWBY Amino. I've worked with Amino in the past, and as you all know, Amino is a place where we can all get along, and we can post fan art, challenges, memes, polls, and Amino and I thought that it'd be cool to have a little contest. The way to enter is simple. Just download the RWBY Amino app, which is free. It's available for both iOS and Android. And the way to enter, you can just download it and post anything. Post fan art, videos, memes, challenges, or whatever. And use the hashtag CoraZoneContest. And if you use CoraZoneContest, I'll be able to see all your posts, and I'll be able to choose a winner. And the winner will get to have their posts featured on the front page. See, here are all the posts that have been featured today. So yeah, if you want to enter, like I said, just download the app, post whatever using the hashtag CoraZoneContest, and I'll choose a winner, and you'll be featured on the front page of the Amino. So yeah, good luck everybody! Looking to the Future by Valkyrie.
Hey Oz, what is Glinda looking like? Hold on, what the hell happened to you? The headmaster of Beacon sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. He should have been expecting Crow's reaction, but that still didn't make it any more welcome. Hello, Crow. I take it you've been having a nice break. Crow was not to be deterred as he walked toward the man's desk. Don't change the subject, Oz. You look like you haven't slept in a week. Don't tell me. Ozpin shook his head, which was pounding from the desire for caffeine, yet he did not take a single sip of coffee. I actually fell asleep last night. That seemed to startle the shapeshifter, knowing full well the meaning behind those words. You went to sleep on your own? Without Glinda making you take your sleeping medication? The headmaster nodded sternly. Yes. The ex-bandit seemed to be at a loss for words before he spoke softly. So, another dream of the past. What was it this time, the war? Ozpin's expression became even more solemn as he stared down at his coffee mug. No, it wasn't another's memories I dreamed of. That got the tension in the air to rise ever so slightly, Crow knowing full well that there was probably a very good reason the headmaster had never really talked about his past. It was something he could understand all too well. Seeing the expression on the huntsman's face, the wizard quickly went to correct his train of thought. It wasn't my memories either. I'm pretty sure what I saw wasn't the past, but rather the future. Crow's eyes widened in disbelief. You can do that? I can't control it, if that's what you're asking. It comes and goes, the images themselves can be blurry, and it can be frustrating as I don't know exactly when those events will happen. Even after all these years, I feel as if I have barely scratched the surface of these powers. Compared to my predecessor, what I've accomplished is but a fraction of what he was capable of. Crow sighed as he got closer to Ozpin, his voice comforting. The King of Vale was the King of Vale. You're you. What is it that you told the newest maiden not too long ago? Ozpin felt his lips twitch into a smile. No two people to hold the same power are alike. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. Give it time and you'll find yours. Those were actually my mentor's words to me when I first began training. Granted, the rest of her training wasn't particularly uplifting. Still, I'd say it's pretty good advice. The headmaster's amber eyes darkened a bit at that. Yes, but the maiden has plenty of time ahead of her, whereas I... The words made the atmosphere turn uncomfortable. In any other circumstance, Crow would have pressed the older man for answers, but this was the time to show restraint. The headmaster needed to gather his thoughts before he could express them fully. Finally, he spoke. I dreamt of my successor. Crow couldn't speak. All he could feel was utter shock at the calm manner in which Osmond had said this. The wizard smiled reassuringly before he went on. Don't worry, I still have plenty of time left. The old king told me when explaining this that he had first dreamed of me long before he passed on. From what I've come to understand, the dreams usually start sometime between the future wizard's conception and birth, though from what I've read in the old writings, it can start earlier than that. Still, it's quite sobering to think about it. I knew it would happen eventually, but I guess I'm being selfish in having hoped for more time. Crow shook his head. I'd like to call that less selfishness and more human nature, Oz. Nobody likes being reminded they'll die someday. Osmond nodded, glancing back down at his coffee. True, but it's something I have to think about. Well, it just means I'll have to accelerate some things. That left Crow almost speechless. Most people, upon learning that death was coming for them, even if it may not be for a while, tended to react in either anger or denial. Very few reacted to it as calmly as Ozpin. Even Crow, who before Beacon had seen death as a release rather than something to be feared, wouldn't have been that calm. Eventually, the Corvid spoke up. So, what did you see of your successor? I couldn't really see what he looked like, it was very blurry, but I think he was with a girl his age, and from the way they were talking, they seemed close. Crow had to bite back a laugh. Wait, are you telling me you saw your successor on a date? Osmond's amber eyes sharpened, his tone just as sharp. This isn't a joke, Crow. Alright. What, is falling in love forbidden? Osmond finally took a sip of his coffee, trying to calm himself down. Technically, no. There's nothing really against loving someone, but that complicates things even more. All the memories I have of those who came before me, there's the constant struggle to balance their duty with their personal lives. As a result, it tends to make things very strained with loved ones when duty eventually wins out. Not to mention, it makes them targets. And after seeing the mess that the King of Vale left behind with his family, I decided to dedicate myself solely to my role. That piqued the Corvid's curiosity. What kind of mess? Ozpin flinched before his expression returned to normal. Let's just say that in order to secure my path, he sacrificed someone else's. It's a long story and one I don't particularly like telling. Suffice to say, seeing my successor getting attached to someone so quickly is a bit worrisome. Crow nodded in understanding before sighing. I see. That led to a silence, with Crow about to say more before he caught the expression on Osmond's face and stopped himself. It was as if the older man was debating whether or not to say something. It seemed as if the desire won out in the end. Though, considering the same thing happened to me, I'm not much of a position to judge. Crow was silent with surprise as Ozpin went on. It was the first time I ever knew I loved anyone. The first time I was treated like a person and not a... Honestly, I was just happy being by that person's side. I never felt the need to speak of my feelings. Besides, it was unrequited. That person was quite older than me, and I think I was viewed more as a younger brother. The turn of events made the huntsman feel incredibly awkward. He felt like Ty would be able to relate more easily to this conversation. I take it they've passed on a while ago. The headmaster's hand went to the cross pin, clenching it like a lifeline. Disappeared on a mission back when I was still young. I didn't know for certain that that person was dead until a couple of years ago, and all I learned just gave me more questions than answers. Did that person know about... Ozpin cut him off curtly. No, not at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were suspicions in that person's mind that it wasn't normal, but I never said anything, and neither did anyone at the time who knew. So Salem couldn't have known? No, though I have no doubt she would have done something if she did. She always did want to hurt the wizard in any way possible, even brutally torturing and killing those whose only crime was loving someone she despised with all her heart. From what I understand, however, that person fell fighting alone to regular Grimm. So that's a comfort, I suppose. Crow honestly didn't see it that way, but the way this conversation was going bugged him. It then struck him that Ozpin had only referred to them as that person. Odd. Then the mood shifted from the somberness as Ozpin changed the subject with an odd tone. Oh, yes, how's Summer doing? Crow answered, a little off guard. Oh, she's fine. Honestly, she's got the patience of a saint to be helping out with Yang. Tai is also getting a bit better. That's good. I hadn't heard anything in a while. Anyway, there isn't anything pressing at the moment, so you could just head back. Enjoy what calm we can in this time. Crow smiled, turning to walk away before he remembered something. If you say so. Speaking of dreams, I had a really weird one last night. That seemed to pique the headmaster's interest. Oh? Yeah, I was crying so much in my dream I woke up crying. Summer said it meant I was dreaming of someone I've yet to meet. Honestly, I'm still not sure whether or not my subconscious created some different form of Summer. Still, there was some stuff that I can never associate with Summer and that girl who comforted me as a crying child. I mean, Summer's cloak is white, not red. The sudden noise startled the huntsman deeply as he saw the cause. Ozpin's favorite coffee mug had fallen to the floor, shattering and causing the brown liquid to flow. And from Ozpin's oddly twitching eye and hand placement, it seemed as if the wizard had dropped it himself. Something that Crow had thought impossible. Oz, are you okay? That brought the headmaster back into the moment as he sighed, looking down where his coffee nut was. I'm fine, really. I'd better call in the janitor. Are you sure? He raised his hand, halting any more inquiries from Crow. I'm fine, just very tired. Could you send Glinda in with my medicine? I think I'm ready to take it now. That wasn't everything, but Crow knew that Ozpin didn't react well to pressing. You could only wait for him to tell you what was on his mind. Alright, I'll come back again next week. Call me if something comes up. I will. Goodbye, Crow. That ended the conversation for the two, the shapeshifter turning back towards the elevator. It wasn't until the doors had closed behind Crow and the sound of the elevator taking him down dinged that Ozpin finally let out his real thoughts from his dream. A girl in a red cloak. Seems he doesn't know the full superstition. Still, it can't be. But yet. That just led the man to letting out the greatest sigh of his life. If this is fate trying to be funny, I am not laughing.